So, howdy. Howdy. You guys know how to say howdy, right? Michiganders. I don't know where we are in the state. Are we up north? Are we? Yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't is this north?
Close enough.
Okay. So are you considered Ubers? Whoa! Whoa! That's like an insult, apparently. No! Yikes! Okay. I know how to tick you guys off. Trolls. Oh! That's what I would think would tick you off. Alright. Okay, well, yeah, I love that video that Sarah did. It was great. I was at the March for Life too. God's funny, huh? I never would have thought 2 years ago I'd be at the March for Life. But I was there. It was my second time to go. I went the first time in January 2010. I went the second time this past January. And man, I was so excited when I left. I was really excited to be there, but I was really excited when I left because I'm telling you, 60-70% of the people that were there were under 30. It was incredible. I mean, everywhere you looked, people were wearing Ugg boots and, you know, things that didn't match. And that's how you knew they were young. And it was great. You know, it was so exciting. I was so encouraged. I spoke at the Students for Life conference, which was a college conference, and thousands and thousands and thousands of college kids that were there. You know, they looked so weird with their pierced faces and green hair and tattoos everywhere. It was awesome. It was great. I was like, this is it. This is the new pro-life movement. I am so excited about these kids that are coming up, and they are on fire for this movement. They are on fire for these babies. They've got new ideas. They have fresh ideas, and they are willing to work so hard. And I think they're willing to work really hard because it just makes so much sense to them. You know, my 4-year-old daughter, Grace, she can look at an ultrasound. She's really funny. She'll look at an ultrasound of a baby, like at 12 weeks or something, and she'll say, oh, look, Mommy, here's a baby, and his name is Owen, and his mommy's name is, always a princess name, Rapunzel, and or Cinderella or something, you know, and his daddy is a prince, and they live here, you know, and she goes on and on the story, right, because it's a baby to her. I mean, a 4-year-old gets it. It just makes sense. It makes sense to our kids. It makes sense to our young people, and that is why I am so wholeheartedly convinced that abortion will end in this country, and it is going to end because the youth are rising up in this country and taking a stand and saying no to abortion. And that makes me really excited. It's always a good time to be pro-life, but it's a really exciting time right now. We've got states everywhere, that, including here in Michigan, that are going to be passing some awesome pro-life bills. Just in Texas yesterday, we found out that we passed a really fantastic mandatory ultrasound and fetal description bill, and that was exciting. And we've got Indiana. Their governor just signed the bill that will restrict Planned Parenthood from getting any money in their state. That's exciting. And Indiana is just the first of many. Missouri's on board with doing it. We're about to do it in Texas. There's a lot of states that are following through. And we basically just said, hey, if we can't count on our U.S. Senate to do it, fine. We'll do it on our own. Right? If we can't count on these guys to make the right decisions, we'll just do it in our own states. You know, I want to ask you a question. How many of you have been to the emergency room? For you or somebody else, you know, you made a trip. Most of us, right? I have. Well, how many of you on the way to the emergency room, you like looked at whoever it was, or, you know, you're thinking to yourself, and you thought, I don't know why we're going to the emergency room. Why don't we just stop off at Planned Parenthood? They can help us. Anybody? Anybody actually make the stop at Planned Parenthood? For like a broken bone or heart attack or anything? No? Really? That's weird. Because, I mean, I just read a press release a couple weeks ago that said that, you know, if we didn't continue to fund Planned Parenthood to the tune of $363 million with our tax money, that our emergency rooms would be overrun with women. But I had never been to Planned Parenthood for an emergency, so I thought maybe the majority of you had been. I thought maybe I was just missing something. But no, that's not the case? Huh. Well, they also said that if we don't want to give them money, that we are directly attacking women. Now, I haven't attacked a woman lately. I don't know about any of you. No? Huh. That's not very pro-life, if you do that, by the way. I don't understand this. I mean, Planned Parenthood tells the truth, right? You know, as silly as these things sound, the saddest part of it is that a lot of people buy it. They buy it. The majority of our U.S. congressmen bought it. And because of that, we are still funding Planned Parenthood. $363 million of our tax money every single year. Planned Parenthood, the only nonprofit that has a revenue of over $1 billion. Yeah. It's like an oxymoron, right? A nonprofit that makes over $1 billion? That doesn't seem right. And 40% of that money is off of abortion. That's such a small percentage though, right? Such a small percent. They just do a few abortions. But it accounts for 40% of their income. And I don't know about you, I'm so tired of hearing that talking about. I'm so tired of hearing Planned Parenthood say that it's a small percentage. It's small, but it's just a few, just a little bit. I am so tired of hearing that. It's not as small as they would like you to believe. 332,000 abortions every year done by Planned Parenthood is not a small amount to me. But even if it were only 20 abortions a year, even if it were only 1 abortion a year, that is 1 too many. And I do not want any, not one dime, not one penny of my money going to an organization that is killing our children. And that's why we're here. That's why we continue to fight. But I've not always been here, as you know. I was once part of that deception. I was once one of those people that would go and lobby and talk to the senators, talk to our U.S. congressmen, talk to our state legislators, and I would convince them, pretty successfully usually, that Planned Parenthood was the right place to go. I would convince them that they were making the right decision by continuing to fund Planned Parenthood every year, over and over again. It didn't seem silly to me, not at the time. Those talking points didn't seem silly, they seemed completely logical. They seemed to make sense. I was a part of that deception. I was a part of the lie. I did it for 8 years of my life. How did that happen? I wasn't raised that way. I wasn't raised